So today is the 98th birthday of former President James Earl Carter, which means um, he was born back in the roaring 20s, back in the days when Mahatma Gandhi was very popular. And today they rang a peace bell for him in Japan, I understand. Meanwhile, on Twitter, no sooner did I get done saying that Vladimir is trying to coerce America into an unauthorized neo-NATO arrangement. And George Takei announced his 85th birthday is going to have a coming out party for the first time he's ever been in London called Allegiance. Um, it's wonderful to see interconnectedness in some of this because so much is kept hidden to, as Oliver Stone said in his JFK movie, keep them guessing. So I'm a symbol of American exceptionalism myself. You try stamping me out, you try rubbing me out, you try rings around my collar, and you still end up with the hate of Jimmy Queerbait. Jimmy C of GB. Does GB mean George Bush's ship in the Navy, Great Britain, or Gale Burston? Anyway, James McRyland Crary at your service. I'd like to go into some issues. One of the issues I want to talk about is the mysterious death of Abe Shinrikyo, whatever his name was. He's the Prime Minister of Japan. It shows you how non-political I am, that I don't get interested much in that stuff. I don't remember his name. Abe Shinzo. My hat's off, respect to him. I didn't know anything about him. He presided over a very abnormal time for me. And the assassin used it reminded me of a little straw coffee stir that Lou Brecker down in the area of Braddock, where I last saw Alicia Marsh, regaled me at the fast food there, how he wished he had invented it. Two straws, in one. Very interesting fact is that I was also reminded of Roberto Clemente, who Pittsburgh keeps under wraps. There's evidence that was assassinated too. The Puerto Rican nationhood issue died with Roberto Clemente. And although he begged out of speaking with Martin Luther King at Ford's Field in 1962, presumably because of a conflict in his schedule, um, it should be pointed out that the Black cause did not die with Martin Luther King in America the same way. I love them both. Just saying. Now, what's the difference between what we're dealing with now these days so that we don't just be kept guessing? And what Roberto and certainly Martin Luther King stood for, which was government distribution for the masses. The brilliant Jordan Peterson recently said that Americans in their fine UW dialectical programmed correctness don't understand what Mao did to China or Stalin did to Russia, probably, or what Adolf did to the rest of Europe and continues to do to us. He said, he couldn't talk them out of using their iPhones for less than $5 million. So we have all these millionaires with all our iPhones. We should appreciate it. Well, the idea was captured when Roberto Clemente went down on his holiday to teach kids in Puerto Rico how to play baseball with sticks and stones the way he did in the barrios. This was not public relations, it's what he loved to do. There's a new picture of Roberto showing him looking very glum and somewhat in aporia in Pittsburgh Pirates dugout. In fact, I'll dig it out for you at the very end of this video so you can see it for yourself if you stick with me and you're interested. So we have a maverick in charge of excluding masses but being inclusive of minority figureheads. This is the arc of colors that violated the Environmental Modification Treaty and flooded Pakistan and is doing all these other wonderful things like percolating the oceans with methane gas from the Nord Stream sabotage, so that we get the idea we're going in the direction of totality again. I knew a dude I used to call Totality Joe. There was only one Joe in Pittsburgh. He was real clean cut. And he came to check me out and introduced me to a dude who listened to tapes of the Totality. Totality Joe. And he was asking for Jackie recently. Did Jackie run out on him or did she run out on JFK? You know, the famous wife thief Charles Bronson had a namesake in Dealey Plaza. George Takei, who's asking for allegiance this fine day, um, or advertising allegiance, I should say, on his 85th, was associated with Dealey Plaza from two directions. His buddy in that weird movie, Green Berets, that begins with the Marines singing in German and makes Fast and Loose about LSD, even though it stars John Wayne. Who had a picture of him with Oswald. George Takei was chummy with Melvin Belly, Jack Ruby's attorney, who had the same psychiatrist, by the way, that Jack Ruby, as Charles Manson. Meanwhile, back in Pittsburgh, the buzzards called me when they did him, Roberto. In fact, they were supposed to keep secret along with John Schulman's proclivity for crocodile fingers in the Carnegie, because these are important people we're exposing. And, you know, well, we've heard quite a bit about the great Israeli backstab that went on at the University of Pittsburgh. I was with my father when Roberto's death came over the TV. He was smiling at a picture of Roberto, and then he went, "My God, that means he's dead," because it had birth and date, and death. It had two dates, two with a dash between them. And that was right after Roberto won the World Series. Well, he was a major player, probably the most valuable player in the World Series that year. I had a green classic. I threw to the ceiling. I watched it. I was, never mind. So you get the idea. There's an inner working keeping us guessing about what's going on because everybody's expendable. Everybody's expendable. For the Zark of colors, everybody's expendable. Well, I think, there's anything I want to say. I'll run and get you that picture of Roberta. I don't think you've probably ever seen this one. No, 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 no. The Russians are in on it. That's why they're using someone named Naval NY. Yeah, the Russians have been in on it with like GT is George Takei and Greta Thunberg, GT. And they have Cory Booker on TV. They tell them this great story about this girl drawing a picture of someone they know. And the teacher says, "Who's that?" Says, "God." She says, "Nobody knows what gods look like." And the girl says, Cory Booker gives a list of great adjectives for her and says, "You will when I get my picture finished." Well, we know that they laser down to the monkey business that John Lennon pulled with his stepping out routine and the mania that Pentagon Disney has for selling the Star Trek sequels of that, like the story of Tammy Simon metamorphosing into androgyny in a Princeton Unitarian church. So we know what God looks like. God looks like John Lennon. Meow, meow, meow. So I'll find this picture, Roberto, that I think it's important for you to see. Yeah, yeah, it's all Knights of Resignation stuff. Vladimir Putin betrayed the Russians. He just sent them out to be mowed down. They're depopulated by any means necessary. The stuff about the nuclear bomb, I mean, it could happen. They're obviously saying we're going to militarize you. That Wagner group goes, anything, even a sniff of a flower is sin. They were really saying that. They want Knights of Virginity to protect the virgins of Europe. Europe is really off the deep end, as Brecker would say, but it's important to understand that Brecker is part of the Israeli backstab. He's the one who mongered up with the Japanese pornography, what was done to me. That's the problem with kids in the barrios. They're loose screws. They don't stick around to take care of the girls they sleep with. They're hit and run fathers and so on and so on. They set up a cardboard, they called it Clem's shack, where they forced me into um, um, vespers of the ground facade with the woman indexed to the symbol of Nazi Germany, which of course is military takeover symbol because I was immoral. They didn't give me a chance not to be immoral. They beat my head and tortured me. And they obviously had, I like Steve Blass. I don't want to blame him for this. I think he liked Roberto, but who knows? The point is, maybe some of those inside stories, I don't know. I'm trying to block the picture of Steve Blass because I don't know what Steve Blass and Maserati did. But I know what Roberto looks like in that picture. Roberto looks like he's in a state of aporia. He wanted to go play with the young lords in Chicago. There's a 8-foot cardboard in the McDonald's in Chicago of Roberto. He's well loved in Chicago. He loved the Latino boys. So what I'm saying is, here, listen up, Takai. I'm on to you. You're a bullshitter. You don't own this planet. Knock it off with your BS.